There aren't exactly worlds in this game. It has a non-traditional gameplay structure where instead we have what we call wings of the castle. So the whole game takes place within the Castle of Illusion, but each of the areas in the games is a different wing of the castle that are based on a different Disney film. The different Disney films were actually quite difficult to choose from because we love so many of the Disney films, that have been made throughout Disney's history. So it was actually very difficult for us to choose which films we wouldn't be able to get into the game. We could probably make 30, additional games and still not have every character and place and film that we love from Disney in there. But I think that, the way that we ultimately figured out which films to use for which, areas of the game was that we just looked at not only what our favorite things from Disney were, but we also had to look at what best translates into this first, Castle of Illusion game within the Epic Mickey universe. So a lot of it was about what films provide the best gameplay possibilities. Yeah, we actually loved the 3D effect on the 3DS, but we had a couple of important goals that we wanted to make different with this game than other games that we've seen on the 3DS. First of all, we were sure that we wanted the game to be easier to look at in 3D, so it was very important to us to make sure that the way in which we approached 3D and the tricks that we used and techniques that we used in executing stereo 3D on this game made it easier to look at, than it might be for other games. We wanted to give the best possible viewing angle and comfort when viewing the 3D, a higher level of comfort than we've seen before in games. But the second thing that, we really wanted to do was use the 3D in a way that we haven't seen as much on the 3DS. What's become the norm is to have polygon-based 3D games. That's basically what everyone expects when they play a 3DS game. So it's something you don't really notice anymore because that's what almost every game does. But with this game, we wanted to take a different approach of projecting things in stereo 3D for that you normally don't see in 3D, like classic 2D hand-painted Disney visuals. So it's that unique experience of seeing 2D visuals but projected in stereo 3D that I think might come across as a little more subtle of a 3D effect to people, but at the same time it's a very different experience than you can get normally on the 3DS. So another important part of the game is a totally different game mode called the Fortress. And the way the Fortress works is it's a sort of a light style RPG mode that's in between classic platform gameplay levels. So this is a totally different game mode that you can visit in between normal gameplay levels. And the reason why the Fortress is important is when you rescue characters that you find inside of gameplay levels, they are transported to the Fortress. And so your Fortress grows organically as you rescue more and more characters and as you decide to do more and more quests with those characters within the Fortress. So you can go to the Fortress and talk to characters and perform quests with them. That'll change the way that their rooms act and look, as well as expand your Fortress. And the benefit of all of it is that every time you do something within the Fortress successfully with the character that you've rescued, it actually gives Mickey some sort of upgrade or money or something else that helps him within normal gameplay levels. There's a lot of player decision within this game as well. First of all, there's, I think, well over 20 different ways that you can change the ending to the game. So, that's based on how the player, things that you do within the actual game. Likewise, there are a ton of different optional things that you can do in the game. None of the characters really have to be rescued within the game, and then once you rescue them, you don't even have to do any of the Fortress quests with them. So that all involves a lot of player choice, but also strategically within the game. We try to make it a point so that the way in which you use the paint and thinner mechanic within the game always provides different options, whether you decide, whether you want to create something or erase it, or whether you want to just try to platform with Mickey to get around that challenge in a different way. We're always looking for different ways that the player can choose to employ a different style to get through the game.